last class we have started finding the range of the functions. Okay, so in and we have taken the examples in which we have linear in the numerator as well as in the denominator, and we have seen the algorithm to find the range of those kind of functions. So I'll give you one more example. Let's see if we can find out the range of that function. Okay, so let's take f of x. F of x is equals to x plus 8 upon 3 minus x. Okay, so you have to find the range of this function. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute time. Let's try to find out and see if you can get the range of this particular function.
Hello, sir. Any problem, sir?
Yes, sir. Okay, so let's see. So this is f of x is equal to x plus 8 upon 3 minus x. So what we have to do, and we know the algorithm, that first what we'll do, we'll try to write out the function x in terms of y. So I'll take this is equals to y. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll cross multiply. So this will become x plus 8 is equals to y into 3 minus x. Okay, and so I have x plus 8 is equals to 3y minus xy. Okay, now this x I will bring that side, and this 8 I'll bring this side. So this will become x plus xy is equals to 3y minus 8. So this will become x common. 1 plus y is equals to 3y plus 8. So this is x is equals to 3y plus 8 upon 1 plus y. And this we have seen several times, that we have to find now the domain of this function, which will become the domain of this function, which will become the range of the original question. So the domain of this function will be r minus of minus 1. Why r? Because the only problem this function will have will only be coming from the denominator. The denominator, when this is equal to 0, when this will be equal to 0, we'll have something by 0 form which is undefined. Now that is why we will remove all those values of y, for which this denominator will be equals to 0. Okay, and that is the y is equals to minus 1. Okay, so the range of this particular domain of this particular function will become r minus, so the domain will become r minus of minus 1. So if the domain is r minus of minus 1, this will become the range of the original function, which is the range of y. Understood? So this kind of question we have already seen. So now I will give you something different. Okay. Okay. So now write down y is equals to under root of x square minus 4. Y is equals to under root of x square minus 4. You have to find the range of this function. You have to find the range of y is equals to under the root of x square minus 4. The first thing which we have to understand is that how is this question different from the previous one? In the previous one, we do not have to square. We do not have to square any side because this wasn't linear, this wasn't linear, right? Now this is not directly in linear. This is not a directly linear equation. Okay. In the numerator, we have under root of x square minus 4. Fine. We have under root of x square minus 4. Now that means I have to square both sides. If I have to square both sides, that means I will increase some of the roots. If I square both sides, that means I will increase some of the roots. If I'm increasing some of the roots, to take care of that, I will write the values of y, which this particular function can take before squaring. Okay. So what will be those values of y? So from this I know, because there is a under root here, so this I know that y will always be greater than equal to 0. I know that y will always be greater than equal to 0. After taking this into consideration, that y will always be greater than equal to 0, now I can square both sides. Now when I will square both sides, what will I get? I will get y square is equals to x square minus 4. Y square is equals to x square minus 4. Now after this, I will write x square is equals to y square plus 4. I will take this 4 on this side. This will become x square is equals to y square plus 4. So x will become under the root of y square plus 4. X square will become under the root of y square plus 4. Okay. Now see, in this part, because there is an under root and there is y square plus 4, there is an under root and we have y square plus 4. Okay. Now what I have to find? I have to find the domain of this. I have to find the domain of y. I have to find the domain of y because I have written x in terms of y. Okay. So I'll write this on the next page. So first condition which I have on y was, that y should be greater than or equal to 0. Okay. And the second condition or the second expression which I have was x is equals to under the root of y square plus 4. Okay. Now I have to find the domain of this. Using this, I can find the domain, but this is y square. The value of y square will always be greater than equal to 0. Plus 4. I can see it like this, that y square will always be greater than equal to 0. If I'll add plus 4 on both sides, that means 0 plus 4 should be greater than y square plus 4. That means y square plus 4 will always be greater than 4. Y square plus 4 will always be greater than 4. That means for all value of y, no matter what y I'll substitute, it will give me a positive value inside the root. That means for this part, the domain becomes for this one, the domain of y becomes real number. That means no matter what y you will take in this, no matter what y, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus infinity, plus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 4, plus infinity or 0, whatever value you will take inside, you will always get this whole thing, this thing inside the root as greater than or equal to 0. Fine. When this is greater than 0, so that means the domain of y is real numbers. Understood? But this is, we are coming after squaring. This we are getting we are coming to this point, we are getting this point after we have squared once. Okay, but before squaring, what you are getting, that y should be greater than equal to 0. Okay, so this is a larger set, and this was the condition on y initially. So I will take the intersection of both of them. So from this y belongs to r, and from this y belongs to from 0 to infinity. Okay, so if I take the intersection of these two, so when I take the intersection of these two, when I take the intersection of these two, so I will get y should be greater than equal to 0. That means the value of y is or the range of y belongs to 0 included to infinity. That means the range of y is 0 included to infinity. Okay, I hope this everybody understood. Fine. Now let's move on to the next example. Okay, and this was x square minus 4. So what I'll do is I will write y is equals to, second question. Again, same thing, we have to find the range. Y is equals to under the root of 4. It was x square minus 4. Now this will become 4 minus x square. 4 minus x square. You have to find the range of this function. Okay, try to find the range of this function and tell me what you will get. We'll repeat the same procedure. First, we'll write the condition on y. Okay, and then we'll try to find out x in terms of y, and that after that we'll find the domain of y, and that will become the range of y. Okay, find out. See, why we are adding 4 on both sides, so that so this is y square, but here I have y square plus 4. So to get y square plus 4, I'm adding 4 on both sides, so that this will be equal to this, so that I can compare these. Just because of that. If suppose there was 5, so I would have added 5. If this was 10, I would have added 10. If this was minus 2, I would have subtracted minus 2. Right? So that is why I'm just adding 4 on both sides. Okay. Fine. So we'll try to solve it. So what we'll do first, that first we'll write the condition on y. So first we will write the condition on y. So the condition on y will be that we have already seen this, that if this is in under root, so condition on y will be, because this is an under root, y will always be greater than equal to 0. Y will always be greater than equal to 0. And why we have to write the condition on y? Because we know that we have to square. We have to square on both sides. And why we are not hesitating on squaring both sides? Because we have taken the condition and there is an equality. Because we have already taken a condition and there is an equality. So that is why we will square both sides. There is no problem. Okay. If in terms of inequality, again, for inequalities, you have to take, this is the one condition. Then in inequality, you have to consider different conditions, that when this is negative, this is positive, and so on. And we have already seen those things. Fine. Okay. So we have already taken the condition on y, that y should be greater than equal to 0. Now we will square. So this will become, on squaring, this will become y square is equals to 4 minus of x square. Okay. Just we have squared both sides. Now what I'll do, I will try to write x in terms of y. So I will take x this side and y this side. So this will become x square is equals to 4 minus of y square. X square is equals to 4 minus of y square. Okay. And then I will take the root. So x will become x is equals to under root of 4 minus y square. Okay. Now the final function x in terms of y becomes this. Okay. Initial function was this. Now the final function or the function which we have to find the domain of y becomes something like this. Okay. We'll solve this. So we had first condition of y was y should be greater than equal to 0, and the second condition and second thing is x is equals to under root of 4 minus y square. Okay, so for this one what we have to do, we have to find the domain of this one. We have to find the values of y which this will satisfy. Okay, we have to find the values of y which this will satisfy. So let's see. So this should be 4 minus y square should be greater than equal to 0, because this is an under root. This has to be greater than equal to 0. Okay, this is something like baby curve. Okay, because we have to find whether this is greater than equal to 0, and this we can factorize. So when this we can factorize, this will become 2 minus y and 2 plus y greater than equal to 0. So this will become 2 minus y and 2 plus y greater than equal to 0. Something like baby curve, which we have already done many times. Okay, now second part, what we'll do, we'll find the critical points. For this one, the critical point will be 2. And for this one, the critical point will be minus 2. Okay, so we have critical point as 2 and minus 2. So I'll just plot on number line. This is minus 2, this is 2, this is x tending to infinity. This part is x, this is y tending, because we are taking in terms of y. So this is y tending to infinity, and this is y tending to minus infinity. Okay, don't think that sir this should be this should not be horizontal, this is vertical. These are just a name. Okay, I can write this y as in terms of k, x, z, whatever, and I can just plot it as number line. Okay, fine. Now let's take it y tending to infinity. Y is a very, very, very large number. We'll try to find out the sign of this. Okay, so suppose when y is tending to infinity, this is 4 minus y, infinity square, which is less than 0. That means when y is tending to infinity, this is negative. Okay, so from negative, I'll start plotting the wavy curve. It will reach first of the critical point. When it will reach first of the critical point, so critical point, this is 2. So this is that point. What is the power? 1. Odd power, that means it will change sign. Next, it will reach minus 2. Minus 2 means this critical point. Power is again odd, 1. So that means again it will change sign. That means negative, positive, and negative. Okay, we have to consider which values, where it is greater than or equal to 0. That means which part of this wavy curve? That means I have to consider only this part. That means I have to consider only this part of the wavy curve. Okay, what is this part? This part is from minus 2 to 2, both being close bracket. Why close bracket? Because 0 can be included. Because if I substitute minus 2, it will become 0. Fine, which is fine with me. When I substitute 2, it will become 0. That is also fine with me. Okay, so this we are getting the domain of y. Okay, now this will become the range of y. This will become the range of y. But we already have one condition that y should be greater than or equal to 0. And from here we are getting y belongs to minus 2 to 2, both being close bracket. Okay, so what we will do now? We will take the intersection of this condition and this condition. So we will take the intersection of this condition and this condition, this part and this part. So what will be the intersection? By here y is from minus 2 to 2, and here y is greater than or equal to 0. So that means the domain, the range of that original function will become, the range will become from 0 to 2. Understood? Just check this thing once again, then we move on to the next question. Fine. I hope you have understood. Okay. So what happened? I'll explain this once again. So what happened is that we have done what? So we have first find out the condition on y before squaring. So before squaring, so this was the original question. Okay. So before squaring, what we know is that there is a root in this side. That means y has to be greater than or equal to 0. If y is greater than or equal to 0, we will write this condition. Okay. Then we'll move on to the question. Now, when we are moving on to the question, what we have to do, we have already seen that there is a root. So on both sides, we have to square. So when I square both sides, I will get something like this. That y square is equals to 4 minus x square. Okay. Now, next part was what? Next part was writing x in terms of y. Now, when x square is equals to 4 minus y square, when x square is equals to 4 minus y square, I can just take the root on both sides. So this will become x is equals to under root of 4 minus y square. Okay. Now, remember this is a condition which we have started before squaring. And why we need this? Because on squaring, we will increase the number of roots. And we will increase the solution. Very good. Now, suppose we have y is equal greater than equals to 0, which we have written once again. Now, this was the condition. Now, for this one, the value inside the root should be greater than 0. Now, for this, in terms of y, what we can do? We can write this in terms of Wavy curve. We can solve this using the Wavy curve. Wavy curve means we can write the factorization of we can write the factors of these two. Both factors will be with power 5. Then we'll write the critical points. The critical points are -2 and 2. Then we'll plot the Wavy curve. Wavy curve means positive, negative, positive, and negative. You have to find only those values where it is positive. So for positive, I'm getting -2 to 2. I'm getting -2 to 2. Now see, in this -2 to 2, there are some values which are negative also. There are some values of y which are negative also. But we have seen that y cannot be negative. We have seen that y cannot be negative. And because we have already written this condition, so we know that y cannot be negative. So I will remove those negative values of y. What are the negative values of y? From -2 to 0. So 0 to 2 will become all those positive values of y. Okay with this condition. So we'll remove from -2 to 0. So this was 0 in between. So we'll remove this part and we will keep this part because this part is okay with the initial condition. Okay. So that is why the range becomes from 0 to 2. Okay. Very good. Okay. Next question. Now we'll move on to the quadratic expressions. Okay. We have already seen that the quadratic expressions critical point or the vertex, vertex will be -b by 2a, comma, -d by 4a. -d by 2a, comma, -d by 4a. This was the coordinates of the vertex. This was the coordinates of the vertex. Okay. And depending on the values of a we have to find whether this is the minima or the maxima. Okay. So in the previous class we have seen that when a is equals to positive, it will be upward facing parabola, and when a is equals to negative, it was downward facing parabola. So for upward facing parabola, this -d by 4a, becomes the minimum value. And from this minimum value, this will always go up. That means the domain, the range of this particular function will become close bracket -d by 4a, comma, infinity. Okay. And when a is negative, that means it is downward facing parabola. That means it will have a maxima. This maxima value of this maxima will be -d by 4a, and this will always go down. So the range of this particular function will be -infinity to -d by 4a, in close bracket and in -infinity in open bracket. Understood? So we'll apply this concept in the next question. Okay. So now find the range of x square minus x minus 3 is equals to f of x. X square minus x minus 3 is equals to f of x. Find the range of this particular function and tell me. I'm waiting for, I'll give you 1 minute, just try to solve it and tell me what is the answer. Okay, so let's see. So this is which kind of a parabola? This is which kind of a quadratic expression? This is upward facing. Why? Because this coefficient is A, this coefficient is B, and this coefficient is C. Now, when A is greater than 0, this is the upward facing parabola. That means we'll have a point of minima. What will be my point of minima? Minus D by 4A. Minus D by 4A. This minus D by 4A means minus of B square minus 4AC by 4 into A. Okay, I will just substitute the values. So this will be minus of what is B? B is minus 1 whole square minus 4 into what is A? 1 into what is C? Minus of 3 by 4 into 1. Okay, so this will be the value of minus D by 4A. This will come up to be minus of 13 by 4. Minus of 13 by 4. So this is minus D by 4A is coming out to be minus of 13 by 4. Minus of 13 by 4. If this is the minimum value and it is moving up till infinity, so what will be the range of this particular function? The range of this particular function will become close bracket minus 13 by 4 till infinity. Close bracket minus 13 by 4 till infinity. Understood? Okay. Fine. Okay. Now let's do a next question on the same concept. Now suppose you have the function. One more thing. Do not think that the roots of this quadratic expression will be imaginary or real. It does not have to do anything with that. Okay. Now, even if the roots are imaginary, suppose this is y-axis and this is x-axis. If this equation, this quadratic expression is something like this, upward facing, but there are no roots. Okay, there are no roots. Even then, it will have a minimum point. It will have a minimum point, and a maximum point will again tend to infinity. Okay, this is the case when it does not have any real roots. Okay. Now, second, when this is intersecting, this has no real roots. Even then it will have a minimum point. So no matter if it has real roots or not, it will have a minima as well as a maxima in the case of upward facing or downward facing parabola. Understood? Okay, now write the question. F of x is given as minus of x square minus x plus 1. Minus of x square minus x plus 1. You have to find the domain. We have to find the range of this particular function. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. Tell me what is the range of this particular function. Understood? Fine. So let's try to solve this one. So now we know that this is which kind of a parabola or quadratic expression. This is downward facing. Why we know this is downward facing? Because of minus 1. A is less than 0. So that means this is downward facing parabola or downward facing quadratic expression. This is something like this. That means it will have a maximum point. The maximum point will be, the value of maximum point will be minus d by 4a. The best part is that minus d by 4a will be for both. Minus d by 4a will be for both. Okay, fine. So if I'll substitute the values, so that means the domain of, the range of this will be something like minus infinity to minus d by 4a. Because from this it will move to minus infinity. Okay, I'll simply find the value of minus d by 4a. So minus d will be b square minus 4ac divided by 4a. Okay, this will be the value of minus d by 4a. I will substitute the values. Minus of, what is b in this? B is minus 1. So this is minus 1 whole square minus 4 into, what is the value of a? Minus 1. And what is the value of c? 1. Divided by 4a. What is the value of a? A is minus 1. A is minus 1. So this will become minus of, this will become 1 minus 4. So this is plus 4. 1 plus 4 upon minus 4. So this will become plus 5 by 4. Okay, so that means the maximum value of this particular function is 5 by 4. Okay, and it is moving from a minus infinity to 5 by 4, or it is moving from 5 by 4 to minus infinity. Okay, so what will be the range of this particular function? So the range will become minus infinity to 5 by 4. Okay, I hope this is okay. Let's check it once again. Okay, fine, very good. Now we'll move on to the next part. The next part is, now see, in these kind of questions we have directly seen that the function has a quadratic expression, and you can just find the roots of the, or you can just find the range of those using the value minus d by 2a. Okay, and we are seeing when we have linear equation compared with y, then also we can find. Okay, let's twist things a little bit. Now what I'll do, I'll write the function, try to find out the range of this. So y is equals to 2 upon root of 2x minus 5. Now we have seen that this root, when this is a numerator, this we will square. Okay, now just check what we have to do when this root is in denominator. Now just check what we have to do when this root is in denominator. Just think about it and try to solve for the answer. Okay, so let's see. Now in this question also, some of you must have figured it out that, sir, in this question also we have root on the right side. But if this root, even if it was in the numerator, or if this root is in denominator, this root will always give you which values? This root will always give you positive values. The output of this will always be greater than 0. The output of this will always be greater than equal to 0. The output of this will always be greater than equal to 0, right? But this is in denominator. This is in denominator, right? If it was in numerator, y could have attained all values greater than or equal to 0. Y would have attained all values greater than equal to 0, right? But now this part is in denominator. This part is in denominator. That means y will assume all positive values. Y will assume all positive values, but y will never be able to assume 0. Y will never be able to assume 0. Why? Because this is in denominator. No matter what value you will substitute here, even if you substitute a very, very, very large number, if you substitute x to be 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 1 lakh, 1 crore, whatever it is, this value will always tend to infinity as x is a very as x tends to a very large number. But this number, this y, will never be equal to 0. Okay, so the first condition which we have on y is that y is greater than 0. Okay, this is different from y is greater than equal to 0. Okay, in this case, this will not be the case. Understood? In this particular question, this will not be the case. In this particular question, y should be greater than 0. So remember, before squaring, to take the condition very carefully. Understood? Now our task becomes a little simpler. Now what happens? I will square both sides. So this will become y square is equals to 4 upon 2x minus 5. Y square is equals to 4 upon 2x minus 5. Now I'll cross multiply. So this will become 2x minus 5 is equals to 4 by y square. This will become 2x minus 5 is equals to 4 by y square. Okay. Now what I'll do? I'll write x in terms of y. So this will become 2x is equals to 4 by y square plus 5. Okay. And I'll divide 2 on both sides. So this will become the final function x in terms of y will become x is equals to 2 by y square plus 5 by 2. 2 by y square plus 5 by. Okay. Now from this part, if I had to find the domain of this, from this part, if I had to find the domain of this, now the only problem y will face, will be, so y belongs to real number minus when this is 0. So real number minus 0. Okay. The only problem which y is facing is that it should not be equal to 0. That means the domain of this will be r minus 0. Understood? Now if r minus 0, this should be okay with the initial condition. Now this has all positive and all negative values. This has all positive as well as negative values, right? But what we have to take? We have to take only the positive values. We have to take only the positive values. And if 0 is also excluded from this. So what will be my final answer? That the range of y, the range will become 0 to infinity. 0 is not included. Understood? So the range will become from 0 to infinity. Okay, just check this once again. Then I'll give you something like this. One more example, something similar to this. Okay, now let's see next part, next question. I'll give you next question. Something very similar to this. I want you to figure it out. I want you to solve it. So this will be y is equals to 1 upon under root of 3x plus under root of 3x plus 3. 3x plus 8. Under root of 1 upon under root of 3x plus 8. Find the range of this particular function. Same thing, find the range of this particular function. Okay, so let's see what we will do. So we have this as under root is in denominator. So as the previous question, whatever we did in the previous question, first we'll try to find out the condition on y, because I have to square. Squaring increases the roots. So I will write a condition, initial condition. So the initial condition on y will be that y that y has to be again greater than 0. Y has to be again greater than 0. Why not equals to? Because there is a denominator. There is a denominator, x is in denominator, so this will never be equals to 0. So this is my first condition on y. Before squaring, we know before squaring I have to write a condition. So this is my first condition. Now I'll square both sides. So this will become y square is equals to 1 upon 3x plus 8. Okay, now I'll write x in terms of y. I will cross multiply, so this will become 3x plus 8 is equals to 1 by y square. So this will become 3x is equals to 1 by y square minus 8. So this will become x is equals to 1 by 3y square minus 8 by 3. Okay, now what I have to do? I have to find the domain of this y. I have to find the values of this y for which it will satisfy. I have to find the values of this y for which it will satisfy. So that means y can take all real values except 0. Y can take all real values except 0 from this, and from here we have y should be greater than 0. So combining both these conditions, what we will get, that the range of the function will become uh, 0 to infinity. Taking an intersection of these two, y will become from the range of y will become from 0 to infinity. Understood? This is very similar to the previous one. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Okay, now see. Now the next kind of a question which they might ask you for range is, the next kind of question which they might ask you for range will be in trigonometric functions. Okay, so suppose you have been given a trigonometric function and they are trying to ask you the range of those trigonometric functions. But trigonometry we have already done in your 11th class. Okay, so next is trigonometric function. Trigonometric functions. Individually we already know the range of trigonometric functions. For example, for y is equals to sine of x. What is the range of sine of x? We know the range of sine of x will belongs to -1 to 1. Okay, same will be the range for, so this is for sine of x, same will be the range for cos of x. Cos of x will also have the same range. Okay, now for tan of x, what is the range? Tan of x, the range of tan of x is real numbers. Range of tan of x is real numbers. Okay, if you remember. Okay, similarly we can find the range of cosec x, sec x and cot x. For cosec x it is -infinity to -1 and 1 to infinity. Same is for cosec x, -infinity to -1 and 1 to infinity. For cot x it is same, which is real numbers. Okay, so this we have already done in the 11th class, so we won't go in that detail. Fine. Now what we'll do, we will combine some trigonometric functions. We'll combine one or two trigonometric identities and we'll try to find out the overall range of that particular function. We'll try to find out the overall range of that particular function. Okay, so first question I will give you is, y is equals to sine of x plus cos of x. Find the range of this function. Y is equals to sine x plus cos x. Find the range of this function. Think about it. Don't say, sir, the range of this function will be -1 to 1, because it is not. Just think about it and tell me what will be the answer. Okay, let's see. So the problem with this is that this is not combined. This is not only one trigonometric identity. This is two trigonometric identities added up. These are two trigonometric identities which are added up. Now we cannot simply find the range of this individually and simply find the range of this individually and take the intersection. Okay, because that will not give us the correct answer. Okay, now what we'll do in trigonometry, if the range in the range question, if they have all anyways any question, any range question, if they have asked you using trigonometry, so there are generally two methods which they will use, right? This is a very broad category. Okay, they will there will be some other examples also, but generally you have to convert. Yeah, there will be two different methods, a very commonly used methods. First is that convert or bring down the trigonometric function, the compound trigonometric function into single identity. I will explain what this is. And second kind of trigonometric function will be, they will give you in a square. So they will give you a square or quadratic expression kind of a trigonometric function. That means sine square x or cos square x or powers. So a second part is, if trigonometric identities are in power greater than 1, then try to convert into a perfect square. Okay, so the first kind of question will be something like this, that they have given you addition, subtraction or multiplication to try to convert or try to bring down the compound trigonometric question into a single identity. Okay, so this is important, into a single identity. And second will be, if the power, in this case it is power is 1, if the power is greater than 1, in an equation, then try to convert it into a perfect square or try to convert into a perfect square. Okay, so using that perfect square, we can if it is a perfect square, then we can try to find out the range using that part. Okay, fine. So let's try to find out the solution for this one, sin x plus cos x. Okay, so suppose the question is y is equals to sin of x plus cos of x. Y is equals to sin of x plus cos of x. Now I have to convert. Now these are into addition. So what I have to do, I have to convert this into a single identity. Okay, into a single identity. And we already know that sine of a plus b is equals to sine a cos b plus cos a sine of b. Okay, so we have this thing. Now how can I use this result to convert this into single identity? What I can do is I can multiply with root 2 and I can divide with root 2. I can multiply with root 2 and I can divide with root 2. If I multiply with root 2 and divide with root 2, this will become root 2 I will keep as it is. Root 2 I will keep as it is. This under root 2 I will take inside. So this will become sine of x by root 2 plus cos of x by root 2. Okay, this I can write as root 2. By 1 by root 2 is what? 1 by root 2 is sine 45 and 1 by root 2 is also cos of 45. So I can write sine x into cos pi by 4 plus cos x into sine of pi by 4. Fine. If I look at this part and if I look at this part, this I can write as under the root of 2 into sine of x plus pi by 4. Understood? So this becomes under root 2 into sine of x plus pi by 4. Okay. Now, if this is single trigonometric ratio, what is the range of this part? Single trigonometric ratio, this sine of something, suppose I can take this as k. So this will become root 2 into sine of k. Okay, where this part is equals to k. This I'm writing as just a name, just a different name I'm giving. This is equals to k. Now, what will be the range of this? Range of this trigonometric ratio is from -1 to 1. So that means sine of k will be from 1 and greater than -1. Okay, so that means if I multiply root 2 on each, if I multiply root 2 in each side, so this is minus root 2 greater than equals to root 2 sine k less than equals to root 2 into root 2 into -1 will become minus root 2, root 2 into sine k will become root 2 sine k, and root 2 into 1 will become root 2 understood into 1. Okay, so we have to find the range of this, and we know from this we are getting the range of this particular function is from minus root 2 to root 2, both being in close bracket. So this becomes the range. Okay, everybody understood? Fine. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll explain once again. So what happens is, because we have two different trigonometric ratios added up or subtracted up or multiplied or whatever it is, fine. If the power is 1, that means if we can convert them into a single trigonometric ratio, then what we will do, that we will multiply in this case with the root 2 and root 2. Why am I multiplying with root 2 and root 2? Because sine 45 is 1 by root 2 and cos 45 is also 1 by root 2. So it will be easier for me, to convert this whole into sine of x plus pi by 4. Okay, so 1 by root 2 and 1 by root 2 I am writing as sine of pi by 4 and cos of pi by 4. So this converts into sine of x plus pi by 4. Okay, so this becomes root 2 into sine of k. I am writing this x plus pi by 4 as sine of k. Okay, so now let's see. So suppose the last thing I'm explaining once again, that sine of k will be less than equals to 1 and will be greater than equals to -1. Sine of k will be less than equals to 1 and greater than equals to -1. Okay, so suppose if I multiply the sine of k with root 2, okay, so that means here also I have to multiply with root 2 and here also I have to multiply with root 2. So on the right side it will become root 2, this will become root 2 sine k, and this will become greater than minus root 2. Understood? And what is this root 2 of sine k? This is nothing but the function which we have converted. This is nothing but this thing is nothing but the y for which the range we have to find. This is nothing but the y whose range we have to find. So I'll simply write this sign y. This as y. So y becomes less than equals to root 2 and greater than equals to minus of root. If this is the condition which we are getting, so that means the range of y belongs to minus root 2 to root 2. Okay, fine. So I'll show you the slides once again. The questions based on this concept, more questions we'll do tomorrow. Okay, fine.